What's going on, everybody? In this video, I wanted to briefly discuss 3 books that have given me a book hangover. Now, according to the internet, a book hangover is the struggle of trying to reconnect with reality after finishing a really amazing book. So for me, it's that swimmy head feeling that I get after I finish a really amazing book. You're kind of trapped in that limbo world where the book is just finished and you're trying to get back to reality, but you're still stuck in the world that you just left. So the first one that I wanted to start off with was House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. I've mentioned this several times throughout my channel, and I've done a few of Mark Danielewski's books, reviewed many of his books. This one left an impression on me like no other book has. I read it for the first time about 10 years ago, 11 years ago, actually, and just profoundly changed the way that I think about reading. I've only read it twice in the last 11 years, but each time it's I can remember almost every detail as vividly as when I first began it. It follows a family that moves into a new house. They're getting settled in. They go on vacation for a week, and when they get back, they notice that there's a door right in the middle of their living room that wasn't there when they left. They have no idea how it got there. On their security tapes, like motion sensor security cameras, it's not like someone came in and played a prank on them and like just built a door there. When they open the door up, it should technically lead right into their backyard because that's where the door would open up into. But instead, they see a long, dark hallway that's really cold. There's no light. And when you walk in there, it's massive, expansive. And the lead narrator, Will Navidson, goes in there to figure out why this got here. And he discovers a giant labyrinth that is within his house that exists on a completely different plane. So when he walks into that hallway, he doesn't go into his backyard. He goes somewhere else. Compasses don't really work. It's cold. They have to leave fishing wire behind and neon lights just to make their way back because imagine what a maze would look like. There's a bunch of doors and great chambers and like staircases and he just along with us, the reader, he just doesn't understand how this could exist. The book tackles mental illness, drugs, addiction, isolation, and really plays with your psyche. It makes you, the reader, uncomfortable on purpose. Sometimes there's long passages where you're like, I don't understand why he's listing just a bunch of like pages and pages of material that they're bringing along. Like, it'll just be listing like batteries, flashlights, backpacks. You're like, why am I reading this? Why would they do that? But it's every device that Danielewski uses in this book is meant to thought-provoke you and make you uncomfortable on purpose. And in addition to that, if that wasn't enough, probably one of the coolest things about the book is how it's structured. So if you can kind of see this here, there's 2 narrators, by the way. Will Navidson is the main guy, and then Johnny Truant is a tattoo apprentice and a drug addict who is commenting on the findings of whoever wrote the Navidson record. There's a lot of layers of storytelling here. I don't really want to get into that right now, but there's 2 different narrators. And what's really interesting about how the way it's written is, if you can see, it's not your typical structure. If you can kind of see like these, like sometimes there's only a sentence on a page. Sometimes there's one word. Sometimes the pages aren't completely filled in, like these weird, boxes, these weird black boxes that come in. And it's really interesting because, and sometimes it's upside down and backwards. You have to like grab a mirror in order to read it. Not all of that information is important to the story, but that just adds to the paranoia that it gives the reader. So this book just leaves you with this sense of what's real, and how to navigate a book that's not conventionally structured. Not it's an unusual structure. And that what makes it more impressive is that that's Danielewski's debut novel, and it's just absolutely amazing how he wrote that. So that one's a 5 out of 5. All these books, by the way, I've reviewed on my channel, and I'll link those reviews below. The next two books, I don't have my copies with me because I lent them out. The second one is 1984 by George Orwell. The reason that this book channel exists is single-handedly because of that book. 1984 reinvigorated my love for reading. It got me on a momentum to keep reading more books. So you can thank that book for us having this discussion today. But 1984 is a fiction, dystopian novel, George Orwell's vision of where he thought the world was headed at the time that he wrote it decades ago. And it follows Winston Smith, who is just a regular worker that gets mixed up in a revolution to try to overthrow the government. The government is totalitarian. You are not an individual in this society. Everything you do is monitored and videotaped, and you are constantly under surveillance. The government has telescreens in your house or your apartment that can monitor what you do 24 hours a day, even while you sleep. You can be convicted of thought crime. Just because you're thinking of something, you can be punished by death. So if you're a sleep talker and you say something like, down with the party, the government is called the party in this book, down with the government, down with the party, they can kill you for that, because in their mind, well, it's in there somewhere. It's in the back of your mind somewhere. So you sleeping and you saying that out loud, it must mean that you want to overthrow the government, so they can kill you with that, or they can kill you for that. Not only that, but if you get killed, your entire existence is deleted. There was one guy that Winston Smith was working with, and said something. You don't want to make a spectacle of yourself. You don't want to start questioning things out loud too often, because someone might overhear you, report you, and then you just get, and then the next day you just don't show up for work. So, and then everybody else has to pretend that you've never even been there. So one of his friends is just saying, "Hey, look at this inconsistency here. This is really strange. I just noticed something interesting about this." The next day he doesn't show up for work, and everybody just goes about their day as if that person never even existed. All your records are deleted. You were never born. As haunting as that sounds, it's an incredible vision that George Orwell thought of. Very addicting. I couldn't put it down. And as scary as it is, you can't help but be just enchanted by how scary the world would be if this were true. Because you can't have a moment for yourself. You can't keep a journal. If you keep a journal with your own thoughts, their whole point is that they don't want you to be an individual anymore. So everything that you do has to be for the betterment of the party. They are eliminating sexual pleasure. The only purpose for sex is to reproduce. They are eliminating language and dumbing it down so that people can't use fancy words to express themselves. So rather than say something like good, better, and best, they've changed those words to good plus good and double plus good, just as another form of control. Everything that the government does is all about control. And this is one of those rare books that, well, maybe not rare, but doesn't have a good ending. And I liked the fact that it didn't have a good ending. Good as in happy, I should say. It doesn't have a happy ending. And usually if a book is written like that, usually the main character would triumph. But in this in this situation, I don't want to give too much away, but it's not a happy ending. And sometimes those are the ones that leave you with that book hangover, like we're discussing. The third book is Scythe by Neil Shusterman. This one is also dystopian into the future, but it's a young adult fiction. In this book, humanity has conquered death. There is no war, there is no disease, and humans are born immortal due to, I think, like genetic engineering, something like that. So what do you do with a population that can never get sick and can never die? The biggest problem becomes overpopulation. So what do? You create a division of jobs called scythes, which is like an ancient society, ancient job that is tasked with choosing the people that they need to kill in order to prevent overpopulation. And what really struck me as amazing about this book is how detailed Shusterman gets in to the lore of the scythedom, the different weapons that they choose, how the scythes are treated in society as honorable. Like everybody has to respect them, not only just for what they are, but because, if you give a scythe, you're walking by one at the grocery store and you give them a weird look, they might just come over and kill you. And it's not illegal to do that. They can justify just killing anybody that they want, really. There are rules that are implemented, and there's a whole like coven, and there's a whole like government of scythes that I just couldn't get enough. Like one of those books where you don't need a lot of action to make it interesting. All of the politics within the scythedom and the different characters was enough, and just makes you like hungry for more. But Shusterman's ability to create his vision to be able to create something so interesting and so fresh was really amazing to me. And although the series really kind of declined after the first book, it could have, in my opinion, it could have been standalone, and I would have been really satisfied. Overall, the series, there were a few problems. Book 2 and 3, just I'm like, what's happening to this series? But the first book I gave a 5 out of 5. All these 3 books I gave 5 out of 5s. But yes, Scythe was just one that I was not expecting, and it was sitting on my shelf for a few months before I just decided to pick it up one night and then read it within a few days, which is pretty fast for me. But yeah, so those are 3 books that gave me a book hangover. Comment below on a book or books that left you this way and you had a hard time coming back to reality after reading it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next book review video. See you later.